Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at the life and really the legacy of Shefali Jariwala, a name that's instantly recognizable for so many in Indian pop culture.
Absolutely. And a journey that, very sadly, ended far too soon.
Yeah, just tragically. The news came through on June 27th, 2025. She passed away in Mumbai at the age of 42. Now, initial reports, they mentioned cardiac arrest.
Right. But that's the crucial thing here, isn't it? The exact cause, well, it's actually still unconfirmed. There's an active investigation ongoing.
Exactly. So there's a lot of shock, a lot of questions.
And that's really our mission today. We want to sort of peel back the layers, look at her whole journey right from her early days in Bombay to the massive impact she had on entertainment here.
An impact that had some surprising turns, definitely.
For sure. And we'll also need to carefully unpack the circumstances around her death, try to separate what we actually know from the speculation and the ongoing inquiries.
Okay, so thinking about that journey, before we get to the very difficult end,
Yeah.
where did it all start? What was her path like? And what were some of the challenges she faced?
Well, she was born Shefali Jariwala, December 15th, 1982, in Bombay, as you said, which we now know as Mumbai.
Right. And her background?
It seems like a fairly typical middle-class family at the time. Her father was a businessman, her mother a homemaker.
So not necessarily an entertainment industry background then?
Not directly, no. And what's really interesting is, even though she apparently had a strong interest in performing arts, she was in school plays, dance competitions, that sort of thing,
Wow.
her parents actually encouraged her towards a, well, more stable career path.
Okay, so what did that look like?
It led her to get a degree in computer applications from Sardar Patel College of Engineering, actually.
Wow, okay. That is unexpected. Computer applications.
Yeah, quite the foundation before becoming, a huge pop sensation.
Which brings us to that moment, doesn't it? 2002. Kaanta Laga.
Oh, yeah. That video, it wasn't just the song, was it? Directed by Pradeep Sarkar, music by Himesh Reshammiya.
It was a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Instantly, that red sari, the dance moves, it just exploded.
Totally. It became this massive party anthem, topped the charts for weeks. And you're right, even now, 2025, DJs still play it. It's got this incredible staying power.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that's where she got the nickname that stuck, right? The Kaanta Laga Girl.
Exactly. It defined her public image for, well, forever, really.
And thinking about that performance, it wasn't just luck, was it? She had training.
That's a really good point. She had a background in classical dance, for Tanatam and Kathak.
Ah, okay.
And you can see that, I think, that training, that discipline, it must have fed into her screen presence, the grace she had, even that very modern, very seductive performance.
It gave it a certain quality, perhaps.
I think so, yeah. It wasn't just raw energy. There was technique underneath.
So Kaanta Laga was this massive breakthrough. But her career didn't stop there, obviously. It spanned right up until, well, this year, 2025.
Right, over 2 decades. And she showed quite a bit of versatility across different platforms.
So beyond the original hit, were there other notable music videos?
Yeah, she did the Kaanta Laga remix that same year, 2002, and then Kabhi Aur Kabhi Par remix in 2004. Kept that momentum going initially.
But then she moved into television quite significantly.
Very much so. She was on Boogie Woogie back in 2008, that popular dance show.
Right, I remember that.
And then she did Nak Balu, the couples dance competition, twice, actually. Season 5, that was 2012, 2013, and then Season 7 in 2015, 2016, both times with her husbands.
Ah, okay. So that gave the audience a very different view of her, more personal.
Exactly. Showed her competing, showed her relationships under pressure, and then, of course, the big one was Bigg Boss.
Bigg Boss 13, 2019, 2020. That really brought her back into the spotlight for a whole new generation, didn't it?
It absolutely did, and people saw a different side, not just the dancer, but someone quite strategic, sharp mind, very vivacious personality. She gained a lot of new fans there.
Yeah, she navigated that house pretty effectively.
Definitely. And even more recently, just last year, 2024, she took on a role in a series called Shaitani Erasmin, playing a character named Kapalika, so exploring different genres too.
And she ventured into films as well.
She did. Maybe not as extensively as TV, but notable roles. She played Bijli in Mujhse Shaadi Karogi in 2004.
Oh yeah, the comedy with Salman Khan and Akshay Kumar.
That's the one, a fun role. And then in 2011, she was in a Kannada film, Hudugaru, playing Pankaja, That film did very well.
Okay, branching out regionally, too.
And there was a web series, too, Baby Come Na in 2018, where she played a character named Sarah. So you see this pattern of trying different things, adapting.
It really speaks to her resilience and wanting to stay active in the industry.
Absolutely. And from what you hear from people who worked with her,
What was the feedback like?
consistently positive, actually. People described her as very professional, always on time, and apparently quite fun to be around, liked to joke, kept the mood light on set.
That's nice to hear. It paints a picture beyond just the performances.
It does. And her energy wasn't just for work. She was also quite passionate about other things.
Like what?
Well, she was a big advocate for a healthy lifestyle. She even put out fitness DVDs and merchandise at one point.
Okay, promoting well-being.
Yeah. And she was also known as a huge animal lover, really involved in supporting animal welfare causes.
So a lot going on beneath the surface of the Kaanta Laga Girl image.
Definitely. A much more multifaceted person than maybe some people realize.
And that complexity extends to her personal life, too, which had its own share of public attention and private struggles.
Right. She was married twice. First to Harmeet Singh, one of the Meat Brothers musicians. That was from 2004 to 2009.
Okay.
And then she married the actor Parag Chagi in 2015.
And they seem like a very solid couple, didn't they? Their public appearances together.
Yeah, they often appeared very devoted, very affectionate. It's incredibly sad, but reports say Parag is actually with her when she collapsed.
Well, wow.
Yeah. He rushed her to the hospital. He was later seen leaving, understandably, in complete shock. The family has asked for privacy, which is completely understandable.
Of course. Utterly devastating for him.
Terribly so. And this brings us to something quite important, especially given the circumstances: her health.
Right. There were known health issues.
Yes. She had spoken openly about having epileptic seizures. Apparently, they started when she was just 15.
That's young. How did she manage that, especially with such a demanding career?
She says she managed it primarily through exercise and, of course, medical care. But she didn't let it define her or stop her.
That takes incredible strength.
It really does. And beyond the epilepsy, she was also remarkably brave in talking about her struggles with depression.
She spoke about that publicly.
She did. She was a real advocate for mental health awareness. There's a quote attributed to her, something like, "Dealing with epilepsy and depression was tough, but I learned strength comes from within. I hope my story encourages others to seek help."
Wow. That's powerful. Using her own struggles to try and help others.
Exactly. It shows real courage and vulnerability. And she did share glimpses of her life on social media too, didn't she? Kept her fans connected.
Yeah, I think I saw something recently. She'd posted about a vacation with Parag.
That's right. A post captioned something like, "Cherishing moments with my better half." Just makes the suddenness of it all even harder to process.
Absolutely. Which brings us back to that tragic day, June 27th, 2025.
Yes. The events unfolded at her home in Andheri, Mumbai. She collapsed suddenly.
And Parag and their staff immediately rushed her to the hospital.
Correct. But unfortunately, she was declared dead on arrival.
And this is where things get complicated. The initial reports, as we said, suggested cardiac arrest.
Right. That was the immediate information circulating. But, and this is the critical point we need to keep stressing, the official cause of death is still unconfirmed.
As of when we're recording this, which is late on June 28th, 2025, the post-mortem results are still pending.
Exactly. And the Mumbai police have launched an inquiry. Forensic teams have been to her home. Her body was examined at Cooper Hospital. It's very much an active investigation.
So just to be clear, cardiac arrest is a possibility, but it's not confirmed yet.
Precisely. It remains unconfirmed pending the official autopsy report and the police investigation.
Now, there's another detail that's emerged, and it adds, well, another layer to the discussion. Reports about anti-aging treatments.
Yes, that has come out. Apparently, she had been undergoing treatments involving vitamin C and glutathione infusions for about 5 or 6 years.
Okay, and the purpose of those?
Primarily aimed at improving skin texture, maybe skin fairness, things quite common, unfortunately, under the pressures of the industry.
Right. Now, have the doctors involved commented on any potential link?
The doctors quoted so far have explicitly stated that these specific treatments, the vitamin C and glutathione, have no known adverse impact on the heart.
Okay, that's important context.
Very important. However, the fact that this is being looked at as part of the overall inquiry, it does raise questions, doesn't it? It adds to the uncertainty.
It certainly fuels speculation, which is probably inevitable in a situation like this.
It is. And it maybe highlights the pressures public figures face, the treatments they might seek out. It becomes part of the narrative now while we wait for concrete answers from the official investigation. It definitely makes this a more gripping situation as people wait for clarity.
It really does. It's just such a somber end. You think about that energy, that vibrancy, especially from Kaanta Laga.
Yeah, it's that stark contrast, isn't it? The music, the dancing, the life, and then silence.
Her impact, though, especially from that song, it's undeniable. It really did define a moment in Indian pop culture.
Absolutely. A whole generation remembers it. And like we said, it still gets played. It lives on in memes, dance covers people do online, just in people's memories.
And beyond the fame, based on what colleagues said, she seems to have been a genuinely positive person.
That's the overwhelming impression, yes. Energetic on screen, but kind and professional off screen. The tributes we're seeing online reflect that.
Yeah, scrolling through social media, there's a huge outpouring from celebrities, fans.
Lots of shock, lots of sadness, people saying things like, she was so full of life, a talented artist gone way too soon, heartfelt stuff.
It really is. And, she might not have a long list of formal awards or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe her real legacy isn't about trophies. It's about that ability she had to just entertain, to bring that spark, that energy that connected with so many people for so long.
I think that's a fair assessment. That connection is powerful. Her whole story, though, from the unexpected start to this tragic, unresolved end, it's just a stark reminder, isn't it?
Of how unpredictable life is. Absolutely. Dancing one minute, gone the next.
Yeah, and it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? About these public figures we admire, the personas we see.
And what might be going on underneath, the private battles, the health challenges they might be facing that we never know about.
Exactly how those two things intertwine. And maybe also, in this age of instant news and endless speculation online.
What's our responsibility?
Yeah. How do we navigate that? How do we try to find the truth, or at least respect the process of finding it, especially when a life ends with so many questions still hanging in the air?
That's a heavy thought to end on, but a really important one. Trying to separate the known from the unknown, especially now.
It feels essential, particularly in moments like these,